This is a big defeat for the SEC, right? They'd wanted to block this on the grounds that it doesn't meet its guidelines for avoiding market manipulation. Now that's struck down. The SEC will have some opportunity here to appeal. We'll see if they do that. So the legal maneuvering here is not necessarily over with necessarily, but it is a big loss for the SEC. And for the crypto industry, it means that the crypto is being taken seriously as a core underlying asset for an ETF now. Now you'd be able to, in theory, have the opportunity to buy these ETFs and track the price of Bitcoin without necessarily buying Bitcoin itself if you want to do that. And there's a whole host of questions about whether that's even a good idea and what the impact will be on the ETF market and, of course, what the impact will be on the crypto market if a whole different group of investors now comes into this pool.
Great development. The crypto industry for a number of years has been trying to enter the regulated space and seeking regulatory clarity. We've been trying to do that through working directly with the agencies. We're now in the courts. A number of us are. Grayscale has been. We are as well, in trying to get the clarity in the courts. But the real action, I think, ultimately has to be in Congress. You've had two big, important pieces of legislation that got big bipartisan support before the August recess. They're going to come up for a floor vote in the fall. We're pretty optimistic that cases like this that demonstrate that the SEC's strategy of regulation by enforcement is ultimately unraveling, and that Congress needs to step in and provide the consumer protections, federal oversight, and the jobs in the United States that we all ultimately need. So we're quite optimistic about what this means for Coinbase and for the industry more generally.
Sounds like the SEC is knocking at your door behind you there. But let me get back to the question about Coinbase particularly, and then I'll bring in Eamon. Is this good news for Coinbase in that if more people migrate away from owning Coinbase and moving into ETFs, does that help or hurt you? Could it help you if you then become the custodian of the Bitcoins, of the cryptos?
Well, we're the custodian for GBTC, so it's an opportunity there. But ultimately, what an ETF means is that it helps facilitate the massive institutional interest that there is in crypto. Mm-hmm. ETFs are an instrument that are much more familiar and much more, accessible for asset managers and a whole range of institutional investors who have a significant amount of capital that we are interested in deploying into the space. So I think this is enormously important for institutional adoption, which I think then allows for broader adoption.
Eamon, jump in.